The Pittsburgh Penguins have made a shocking move that has major implications for the team moving forward. We're going to break down the trade that they just made, as well as multiple other sneaky good signings that we're going to break down as this team is starting to take shape. We're going to break it all down in this episode of Penguins Digest. But before we do that, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 68% of you who watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. So if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening with the Pittsburgh Penguins, go down below, hit that free subscribe button, because this is the place to be for all your daily Pittsburgh Penguins content. But Mark, let's jump right into it. We have a trade to break down, and the Pittsburgh Penguins have officially traded backup goaltender Alex Nedeljkovic to the San Jose Sharks for a 2028 third-round draft pick. And Pittsburgh now has 28 draft picks over the next 3 NHL drafts, including 16 picks in the first 3 rounds. And we can take a look at that here. Obviously, you thought 2025 was good with 3 first rounders. Well, let me introduce you to 26 and 27, where they have 3 seconds, 2 thirds, no 4th or 5th, but obviously a 6th and 7th. And then they're stacked the next draft as well in 2027 with 2 second-round picks and 3 third-round picks. So lots of draft picks in the next 3 drafts, not including 25. They have a bunch in 28 as well. This is tidy work, trading away your backup goaltender for a third-round pick. I think, obviously, Nedeljkovic came here kind of, on a down year, looking to regain his confidence. I think he did that. He had some really, really good quality starts for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And he had a great late season run in 2024 where the Penguins actually almost ended up making the playoffs. We know what happened there, but, almost making the playoffs. But all in all, what do you make of the trade? You get a third-round pick for Nedeljkovic, and there's somebody waiting in the weeds, which we'll get to in just a second.
I mean, I think the nicest thing with this, we see Ned going to the San Jose Sharks, and I got to give credit to Dubas. We see the Sharks team trying to hit the cap floor. He noticed this, traded out his backup goaltender. Like you said, we're going to touch on the guy that's coming up, but moving Ned to get more draft capital, I think, is the smartest thing to do. We know Jarry's going to be the starting goaltender. There's someone waiting in the weeds, and you're almost just moving out assets that you don't need and getting draft capital back. I think Dubas is going to do this quite a bit over this next season with all the signings he's made. Bringing in these names, I think he's really going to take advantage of this extra salary cap space or players at his disposal to move out. And I would not be shocked if we almost see doubling on these draft picks, and hopefully not doubling where he trades down if McKenna's at 1 and they get it. But I do think we're going to see this draft stock slowly move up and almost become the OKC Thunder of the NHL.
It's already looking that way, actually. That's a great comparable. And, you bring up a good point. Kyle Dubas loves to trade down, so we'll see what happens with that. But I don't know if they're actually going to use all of these draft picks to draft players. I think they're going to weaponize them. And this is just another, step in that direction to acquire a third-round pick. And I think, again, they're going to weaponize them in trades. They want to trade for assets, and they're going to be selling off at this year's deadline, I believe. But I also believe that they want to be competitive and that they're probably still in the market for another player. But obviously, like I just mentioned, there is a player waiting in the weeds to take that spot. It is Joel Blomqvist, who obviously had great numbers in the AHL. He is probably going to be the goaltender of the future. He's only 23 years old. We see goalies only really blossom around 26 years old. So he does have some time still. He did have a pretty good stint in the NHL as well. So now he just kind of seamlessly takes over that spot at a lesser cap hit as well. You're saving in terms of cap, which wasn't really an issue for the Penguins anyway. But Mark, what do you think of this move? It's a young goaltender moving into that spot. They're not thrusting him into the spotlight too much just yet because Jarry is still here. But I do think this is a good move in terms of, yes, Nedeljkovic was a good goalie for this team, but you get some draft capital back and you're probably going to flip it to acquire another player.
With Blomqvist, I thought he played awesome in the AHL, having a good record, playing great, but I do think getting him up into reps in the NHL is exactly what you need to do with your young goaltender that's already had a stint. It feels like Ned was almost that roadblock, stopping him from getting here. So actually getting draft capital to bring in your AHL or former AHL goaltender, soon to be backup goaltender, and I would not be shocked if he gets a bigger role going through the season. I think it's really tidy work. And listen, Dubas is getting a lot of hate, but there's a lot of little minor things that he has been doing that genuinely looks like a genius move in the long run, and I would not be shocked if Blomqvist comes in to be the starter in just 2 seasons from now.
Absolutely, and I think that's probably the plan right now. Of course, anything can happen, but I think that's what they're trying to set him up for. But it's going to be very interesting to see, and you can see here, yesterday they also added to the back end. They got Parker Witherspoon, and of course, Connor Clifton back there on deals during free agency. But not just on the back end. They also made a forward signing, a 2-year contract for Justin Brazeau at $1.5 million per with the Penguins. Now, notoriously in his NHL career so far, he's been a fourth liner since he's made the NHL with the Boston Bruins and just recently with the Minnesota Wild. He has decent underlying numbers and decent advanced analytics. Like, he is just a fourth liner at this point. He did actually score a bunch of goals in the OHL when he was in junior. He was a goal scorer and a big body who could score goals, so maybe he can still find it at the NHL level to a degree. I don't think he's going to be the 60 goal scorer that he was, but like you can see here, great advanced analytics. And like I mentioned, they signed Parker Witherspoon and Caleb Jones to go with that. But back to Justin Brazeau, it's a 2-year, $1.5 million deal. The cap's going up anyway. 1.5 is nothing for the Pittsburgh Penguins. You have a ton of cap space, and you're looking to sell off still. So this makes a ton of sense. Mark, what do you see from Justin Brazeau? I feel like he's going to come in, play maybe, he could even play third line minutes, but I feel like that's going to be reserved for some of the younger guys on the team as well. But he's going to come in, give you quality minutes on the fourth line, and it's another big body. I think the Penguins want to actually start getting tougher to play against too. Of course, you want the speed, you want the skill, but you also want guys who are tough to play against.
I mean, going back to the 60 goals in the OHL, if he did this, I'd order his jersey express shipping immediately. But with Brazeau, I do think there's value there. We see the advanced stats looking great. He was just traded from the Boston Bruins to the Minnesota Wild, who gave up assets to get him. So maybe Dubas is looking at this and like, hey, we have a guy that's a fourth liner that might be able to hop up into the third. Maybe a bigger role gets him more numbers into his stats. But I do think getting bigger, getting harder to play against, the East is getting better. You want to be a competitive team, even if you're still kind of tanking, which you can't fully admit. But I do think this is a good contract. And once again, I don't want to keep going back to, hey, we're signing guys to flip at deadline. But once again, the Bruins just moved him last year for a couple of young pieces out of Minnesota. If Dubas gets into this trade deadline or the year after, this is another piece. Once again, you can still add more draft capital, and he can go out and trade for every first-round pick. But if he doesn't, or gets high value for guys that he's signing on a cheap contract, I think it's looking great. And honestly, I do like this deal a lot as a player.
And I do sometimes, just to piggyback off what you said, think that Kyle Dubas is trying to get all the Infinity Stones. He's trying to get, every top 10 pick in next year's NHL draft. It will be interesting to see. But also, I did want to mention before we wrap up here, Brian Rust, we're not necessarily sure what's going on with him. He could end up getting traded as well. We also have Anthony Mantha. He just signed. We're going to cover that in another video, so stay tuned for that and what that means for the team. As you can see, him here kind of penciled into the third line. And then, of course, Justin Brazeau, $1.5 million penciled into the fourth line. And I like what they've done so far. Some sneaky good moves. They're not going to be anything special next year, but they could, be competitive still. And they have a bunch of young guys who are going to be trying to make the team out of camp, which I think is very exciting. I like the Rucker and McGroartys of the world and the Ville Koivunens as well. So it's going to be interesting to see. Let us know in the comments how you feel about Nedeljkovic being traded, and of course the signing of Justin Brazeau. We'll have another video out soon covering all the other moves, but if you haven't yet, go down below, hit that free subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything Pittsburgh Penguins.